Entertainah talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. I know I told you guys yesterday I was going to be going live. I wasn't able to do it, but tonight I will definitely be going live around 8:30. I'm going to try to have a New York Giants roundtable, working on getting a few New York Giants YouTubers on. We'll talk about the game tomorrow. We'll talk about the future of the team, but I kind of wanted to jump into some of the news of the day for the New York Giants and also give you guys my overall opinion on the matchup against the LA Rams. Listen, I'm human just like you guys, and after last week, I was incredibly discouraged with the effort of this New York Giants football team, but I'm not going to lose sight of what this season has been about for me, at least, coming into the year. Some of you guys may have definitely had higher expectations than myself. I expected a team to get progressively better over the course of the year and to struggle in the win and loss department. Now, I projected 6 wins. Maybe they should have been a little bit lower. At the end of the day, I always say I'm biased, and I'm a New York Giants fan, but hopefully they match my expectations, and hopefully they end up winning 6 games and have something positive to build off of going into next year. We'll have to wait and see. This week will be a very tough test. I'll dive further into it as the video goes along, but I wanted to start with Austin Mack. And you know, I was a bit surprised this year when the New York Giants didn't draft any wide receivers. You know, they elected to take a bunch of linebackers in the 6th and 7th round, and the only reasoning for that was, well, in my opinion at least, the fact that they were trying to bolster the special teams. You had a special teams coach, and they were trying to get as much help on defense as they possibly could, and maybe the New York Giants felt like it was a very rich wide receiver draft class, which is why they picked up 4 guys, I believe, after the draft and signed them as undrafted free agents. Austin Mack being one of them, along with Reese and John, Benjamin Victor, along with a couple of other guys as the season went along. And a lot of you guys were really excited when we brought in Austin Mack from Ohio State. I'm kind of trying to temper expectations a little bit. Am I excited that he's on the team? Absolutely. Let's see what the kid has. Victor Cruz came up as an undrafted free agent. We all remember what he had. Am I expecting that? Absolutely not. But I'm excited for a kid to get an opportunity? Sure. I mean, you look at this New York Giants roster right now, outside of Darius Slayton, who could you conclusively say is definitely a part of the future, which is what this year is about, of this New York Giants receiving corps? You just can't. Sterling Shepard's a guy that we all know, we all love, but the guy continues to be banged up over the course of his career, and who knows if he's even going to be a part of this team outside of the 2021 season where we can't cut him. Golden Tate, to me, doesn't have much of a future with this football team. He was brought in here hopefully to help mature a guy like Daniel Jones, and I thought that he really fit the Shermer scheme well. He doesn't really fit this scheme that well, so I don't really see Golden Tate being a part of the future. And then after that, with Sterling Shepard down, who on this receiving corps do you see that could block a guy like Austin Mack or could block a guy like Benjamin Victor? Is C.J. Board really a guy that you say, I don't want to see anybody else get an opportunity? No, the guy is like 100 career receiving yards, and the same can be said for Damian Ratley. Yeah, he's got speed, he's got height, but the guy had 200 receiving yards last year. That was his career high. So why not bring guys up like Austin Mack and give them an opportunity to try to carve out a niche in the NFL? Do I think he will? I don't know. He's an undrafted free agent for a reason, but I will say he did sustain some injuries well at Ohio State, and maybe if he could stay healthy, maybe he could become a good NFL player. I'm not going to tell you that he can't. I mean, it's definitely happened before. A lot of people said that was the reason that Austin Mack went undrafted, due to the fact that he was injured. He was also buried on the depth chart behind great wide receivers. Of course, Ohio State had Terry McLaurin. They had Paris Campbell. They had a number of really good wide receivers at that program, and he kind of probably didn't get a real opportunity to shine, him and Benjamin Victor, who's also on the New York Giants practice squad. So we'll see what Austin Mack could provide for the New York Giants. He stands a little bit under 6'2". He's about 210 pounds, and he looks to be more of a slot-type wide receiver, more of a third-down type wide receiver, not a guy with jets. He ran a 4.6 or a 4.62 40 at the combine, but he's a guy that people say has good hands, he's a good route runner, and maybe he could create some separation, help out Daniel Jones on third down, because we're going to need it, especially going up against a team like the LA Rams. So I'm excited to see Austin Mack get an opportunity, and hopefully he helps the passing game for the New York Giants. But until such time this offensive line gets going, it's going to be hard to get any semblance of an offense. And that'll bring me to the LA Rams. And I didn't do an individual preview video on this game, well, because quite honestly, this is a game that I'm not going to get my hopes up for. I'm not going to get your hopes up for it. This is a very tough game. We're going to LA. They've looked great. They've got a very experienced coach in McVay. He's been to a Super Bowl. They've got a very experienced quarterback in Goff. He's been to a Super Bowl. And so far, the LA Rams have been about the run. I don't know what they did last week. The 2 weeks prior, they rushed about a combined 80 times over those 2 contests. They're a team that's relied on a plethora of running backs, and I expect them to continue to do that. And Goff looked great last week as he continued continues to progress this year as he tries to prove to the NFL that last year was a fluke. Goff's a very good quarterback. I'm not going to tell you he's elite, but he's very good. And I expect the LA Rams to try to wear out this defense, much like several other teams have done in the prior weeks. And what I ask for this week from the New York Giants on both sides of the ball is effort, and not to make silly mistakes. I don't think I'm asking for too much. That's what I want this week. You're going up against a much better opponent. You're on the road. They're much more experienced than we are. Of course, I want to win. I want to win each and every week. But if I'm going in realistically, do I think we're going to beat the LA Rams on the road? No, we're 12-point underdogs for a reason. They're a much better football team. They are much better prepared. They've had the same coach now for 4 years. Should I expect the New York Giants to beat them? No, it would be a monumental upset. But I do expect them to come out with a much better effort. Last week was a complete and utter embarrassment. And yeah, we were going up against backups, but they're a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. They're very well coached, but it should have been much more competitive than that. And the New York Giants got pushed all over the football field. We could very well get pushed all over the football field this week too, and if we do, they're a better football team. But I need effort. I don't want silly mistakes. I don't want Daniel Jones turning over the football. And I'm going to tell you this, guys, the same thing I tell you every week. We need balance on offense. And I don't think we're going to get great balance on offense until such time that this season progresses and this team gets more acclimated to one another. But hopefully we get a little bit closer to where we want to be by midseason and hopefully by the end of the year this year with this New York Giants football team. They've got a great offense and a great defense. They've got two supremely talented players in the NFL. As a matter of fact, you could argue that Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback, and Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman in the NFL. That's how talented those guys are. Jalen Ramsey did a great job in that Cowboys game. I expect him to take away Darius Slayton in this game if he's matched up against him, and I would think that's who he would be matched up against. And if he is, well, that's when you're going to look to guys like Austin Mack, Evan Ingram, and Golden Tate. They'll have to come up big in this game because Jalen Ramsey so far this year has looked every bit worthy of being called a top 2 or 3 cornerback in the NFL. And then, of course, the other guy that you worry about is Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald against Nick Gates is a recipe for disaster. The New York Giants are going to need all the help they can get up the middle. I don't expect Nick Gates to be able to go toe-to-toe with a guy like Aaron Donald. I think you're going to need to see the fullback out there a lot. I think you're going to need max protection. You're going to need to see Caden Smith back there. But I've said this each and every week, and the offensive line continues to fail. Hopefully, going up against a team like Donald, they're able to scheme their way into passing opportunities, and that's all I could ask for. Don't turn the football over. Try to establish the ground game. I recognize it's going to be very difficult against this football team, but the New York Giants have to stay balanced. They have to stay committed to their game plan, and they can't turn the football over. And Daniel Jones, that's what I'm asking for from you this week. I'm not asking for a 4-touchdown performance. I'm not asking for a 3-touchdown performance. I'm asking you to manage the football game, not make crucial mistakes, and keep your team in it going into the fourth quarter. That's what I'm asking for, and I know it's going to be difficult. You're going to be probably playing from behind. The Rams are going to know we're going to have to throw. We'll see if Daniel Jones and this offense could progress this week, going into week 5 against the Dallas Cowboys. But it's not going to be easy, and I'm not going to tell you guys that it is. The Rams are a better football team. We're on the road, and we're coming off a crippling loss against the San Francisco 49ers. But this is where we find out if this team has got some toughness. This is where we find out if the team is willing to fight for Joe Judge and put out 110% effort this week against the LA Rams. Because right now, as Giants fans, going up against a team like this on the road, that's really all you could ask for. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.